The 7 easiest vegetables to plant in fall and forget all winter. Hey there, friends of Golden Garden. Have you ever dreamed of planting something once, walking away and coming back months later to find your garden bursting with life? No watering, no worrying, no winter stress. Imagine stepping outside on a crisp spring morning to see fresh shoots pushing through the soil, all because of the quiet work you did in fall. Sounds impossible? It's not. And today I'm going to show you exactly how nature does the heavy lifting from you. This video is for you, the plant lovers who crave the beauty of green life but don't always have hours to spend in the dirt. It's for the busy parents who wish they had more time to garden, the young professionals, balancing work and self-care, and even the apartment dwellers who dream of turning their small balconies into peaceful green corners. Whether you grow herbs on your windowsill or vegetables in your backyard, you belong here. Because Golden Garden is all about making gardening simple, soulful, and satisfying. So get cozy, grab your favorite cup of tea, and let's discover the 7 easiest vegetables you can plant this fall and completely forget through winter until they surprise you with a harvest next spring. Trust me, you'll never look at gardening the same way again. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another Golden Garden story where we grow joy one seed at a time. Garlic, the effortless winter warrior. Let's begin with a classic that every gardener thinks they already know, garlic. But today I want you to see it differently. Garlic isn't a delicate plant that needs babying, it's one of nature's toughest survivors. Think of it as the winter warrior of your garden, quiet, strong, and unstoppable. When most plants are wilting under frost, garlic is busy beneath the soil, transforming a single clove into a full, beautiful bulb. Here's the secret most gardeners overlook. Garlic loves the cold. It doesn't just tolerate winter, it needs it. Those freezing temperatures signal the cloves to divide, building those plump bulbs that make your kitchen smell like heaven come summer. So when you plant garlic in fall, you're not risking it, you're setting it free. Choose the biggest, healthiest cloves you can find and tuck them into the soil about 4 to 6 inches deep. Cover them with a thick, cozy blanket of mulch, leaves, straw, or wood chips. Then do the hardest thing of all, absolutely nothing. Don't water, don't dig, don't peek. Let nature do what she's done for thousands of years. While you're inside sipping hot cocoa, your garlic is growing in silence. And when spring sunshine returns, those green shoots will push through the mulch as if to say, "I told you I've got this." By early summer, you'll harvest enough garlic to fill your pantry, all from a few cloves and a little trust. That's the beauty of this first plant. It teaches you patience, faith, and the magic of letting go. Now, let's meet the next winter champion that actually moves on its own. Walking onions, the self-sufficient garden wanderers. Now, let's talk about one of the strangest and most fascinating plants you'll ever grow, walking onions. Their name sounds almost magical, doesn't it? And honestly, it kind of is. These little marvels don't just sit still in your garden, they move. Each season they grow tall green stalks, and instead of producing flowers, they form clusters of tiny bulbs right at the top. When those clusters get heavy, the stalk bends over, touches the ground, and plants itself. It's as if the onions decided to take a stroll through your garden, leaving new life behind wherever they go. The beauty of walking onions is their independence. You plant them once and they reward you year after year without asking for a thing. They don't need replanting, constant watering, or even attention. Through the coldest months, they rest quietly underground, preparing to burst back to life in spring. When they reappear, you can use the tender green tops like scallions, harvest the underground bulbs for cooking, or save the little top sets for replanting. Every part is useful, flavorful, and full of personality. If you've ever wished for a plant that could thrive while you're busy living your life, this is it. Walking onions are the perfect companion for the gardener who wants abundance without effort. They create their own rhythm, multiplying, spreading, thriving. And watching them walk across your garden over the years is like witnessing nature's slow-motion dance. So as you plan your fall planting, make room for these resilient travelers. Plant them once, forget them all winter, and next spring you'll find they've quietly expanded your garden on their own. Proof that sometimes the best gardeners just need to stand back and let nature lead the way. Miner's lettuce, the secret salad that grows beneath the snow. Now, let's move from the underground warriors to something far more delicate, a green so gentle, so refreshing, it almost feels like nature's secret gift to those who don't give up gardening in the cold. Meet miner's lettuce, or as some call it, claytonia. It's not your typical salad green. It's a survivor that thrives where most plants surrender, right beneath the snow. Picture this. While your neighbors are spending $5 on a tiny box of wilted salad mix at the grocery store, you're stepping out into your frosty garden, brushing aside a bit of snow and finding a patch of crisp round leaves waiting for you. Sweet, tender, and slightly tangy, miner's lettuce is like a taste of spring in the dead of winter. What makes it truly remarkable is its simplicity. In early fall, you scatter the tiny seeds on the soil. They're so small, they almost look like dust. Cover them lightly with compost, water once, and then simply let them be. When the cold sets in, miner's lettuce doesn't complain. It slows down, tucks itself under the frost, and quietly waits. The snow actually protects it, keeping the leaves fresh and vibrant until you're ready to harvest. And when you do, you'll realize this little plant has been your silent partner all winter, giving you greens for salads, sandwiches, or even smoothies without any care or effort. It's perfect for gardeners who love the joy of harvesting something fresh when the rest of the world looks frozen and still. So, if you've ever thought winter meant the end of homegrown greens, miner's lettuce is here to prove you wrong. It's nature's reminder that even in the coldest months, life and flavor find a way. And next, we're about to meet another quiet overachiever that multiplies beneath the frost like buried treasure. Multiplier onions, the hidden treasure beneath the frost. Now, let's talk about a vegetable that feels almost like magic because it multiplies underground while you're not even looking. These are multiplier onions, sometimes called potato onions, and they're the quiet investors of the garden world. You plant one in the fall, and by the time summer arrives, that single bulb has turned into a whole cluster of new ones ready to fill your pantry and your dinner table. Think about it. While the snow blankets your garden and you're inside keeping warm, these little bulbs are down there working, dividing, and expanding. You don't have to water them through the cold months. You don't have to protect them from frost. They know exactly what to do. By the time spring sunlight reaches them, they're already prepared to grow strong, sending up shoots that signal the promise of a harvest to come. Planting them is simple. Place the bulbs 2 inches deep, 8 inches apart, and cover each with a layer of mulch. Then just walk away. It's a one-time investment that keeps paying you back year after year. When you dig them up in early summer, you'll find clusters of onions where there was only one. Keep the largest for cooking, set aside a few medium ones for replanting, and suddenly, you've created your own self-sustaining onion system, one that costs nothing after the first planting. And the best part? Their flavor is deeper, sweeter, and more complex than the store-bought kind. These onions make soups richer, stews heartier, and every dish feel like it came straight from an old family garden. So while others are racing to the store for fresh produce in spring, you'll be standing in your garden with a basket of golden bulbs, a harvest born from patience, trust, and the quiet power of letting nature do the work. Now let's move to a plant that not only feeds you, but also feeds your soil. True gardener's secret weapon, fava beans, the quiet builders of spring abundance. If there's one plant that truly understands the art of working while you rest, it's the fava bean. Also known as the broad bean, this humble legume is more than just a source of food. It's a living engine of renewal for your soil. When you plant fava beans in the fall, you're not just growing a crop, you're rebuilding the ground itself. These plants have a secret power. They pull nitrogen straight from the air and lock it into the soil, feeding the earth with nutrients that will help your next seasons. Vegetables thrive. It's almost poetic. While winter storms rage outside, the fava beans sit quietly beneath the surface, developing strong roots and quietly enriching your garden for the future. You don't have to tend to them or fuss over them. Just plant the seeds 2 inches deep, water them once, and step back. Nature will take it from there. When the first signs of spring appear, fava beans come alive. They shoot upward with lush green growth, soon covered in delicate white and black flowers that look as if they were painted by hand. Those blossoms turn into thick pods filled with beans that are tender, buttery, and delicious, nothing like the dry ones you might remember from a can. But here's the beauty of it all. You don't even have to harvest every bean. Eat some, yes, but let the rest return to the soil. When you chop the plants down and turn them into the earth while they're still green, They release that captured nitrogen, transforming your garden bed into a powerhouse of fertility. Fava beans are proof that gardening doesn't always mean hard work. Sometimes it's about planting the right thing and trusting the quiet rhythm of nature. They're the gardener's reminder that growth doesn't stop when the weather turns cold. It just happens underground, waiting for the right moment to bloom. And speaking of resilience, our next plant is a leafy green that thrives where others give up, a true winter hero. Kale, the indestructible green that laughs at winter. If there's one plant that refuses to surrender to the cold, it's kale. This leafy green is the definition of resilience, strong, beautiful, and unbothered by frost. While most vegetables wither when the first chill arrives, kale stands tall, its leaves deepening in color and flavor with every drop in temperature. In fact, the colder it gets, the sweeter kale becomes. It's as if the plant takes winter's challenge and turns it into strength. For gardeners who crave fresh greens all year but don't have time to fuss, kale is a dream come true. You plant it in early fall, give it a good layer of mulch, and then let nature take charge. When snow covers the ground, your kale will still be there, green, crisp, and full of life. Come January or February, when everything else looks frozen and forgotten, you can step outside, brush off the snow, and harvest leaves that are bursting with nutrients. And the best part, kale keeps giving. Pick the outer leaves and it will grow new ones. It's a plant that truly rewards patience and care, or even better, neglect. Varieties like Winterbore and Red Russian are particularly hardy, painting your garden with deep emerald and purple hues when everything else fades to gray. Whether you toss it into a smoothie, saute it with garlic, or bake it into chips, kale connects you to the living heartbeat of your garden even in the coldest months. It's a quiet reminder that growth doesn't always happen in ideal conditions. Sometimes it happens in spite of them. So while most people wait until spring to start gardening again, you'll be harvesting fresh sweet leaves all winter long. And next we'll meet another champion of endurance, one that stands tall through frost and rewards your patience with rich, delicate flavor when the snow melts, leeks the gentle giants of the winter garden. And now we come to one of the most graceful and underrated vegetables you can grow, leeks. They may look elegant and refined, but beneath that calm exterior lies a strength few plants can match. Leeks are built for endurance. When other crops collapse under the weight of frost, leeks stand proudly, their long, white stems and soft green leaves swaying gently in the winter wind, unbothered by the cold. Plant them in late summer or early fall, give them a thick mulch blanket, and then forget about them. Through rain, snow, and icy nights, they'll stay rooted, slow and steady. And when spring warmth returns, they'll be waiting for you, sweeter, milder, and more flavorful than any leek you could buy at a store. It's as if the cold sharpens their taste and softens their heart. Harvesting leeks feels almost like uncovering treasure. You pull them from the soil, one by one, their clean white stems shining like ivory against the earth. They're a reminder that patience always pays off. Whether you simmer them in a comforting soup, add them to stews, or pair them with potatoes for a rustic winter dish, leeks bring warmth and depth to every meal. What makes them even more special is their loyalty. Once you grow leeks, you'll want them every year. They ask for so little yet give so much: nourishment, beauty, and a quiet sense of accomplishment. For gardeners who love elegance mixed with practicality, leeks are pure joy. And with that, we've reached the end of our winter champions, 7 remarkable vegetables that thrive while you rest, growing quietly through frost and snow. But before we wrap up, there's something deeper to take away from this. A truth about gardening, patience, and the simple art of letting nature lead the way. Bonus, let nature do the work for you. Here's the part most gardeners overlook: the power of doing less. When you plant these 7 vegetables, you're not just saving time, you're learning to trust the rhythm of nature itself. So much of modern gardening is about control: watering schedules, fertilizers, constant checking, endless adjusting. But real gardening, the kind that lasts through the years, is about partnership. It's about understanding that the earth already knows what to do if we simply give it the chance. When you mulch your soil thickly in the fall with straw, leaves, or wood chips, you're giving your plants a warm blanket that keeps the cold out and the moisture in. You're creating stability beneath the surface, even as the world above freezes and thaws. Beneath that quiet layer, life never stops moving, roots stretch deeper, microbes wake and work, seeds rest and dream of spring. And this is where your garden becomes more than a patch of soil. It becomes a living ecosystem, one that doesn't need constant attention but thrives on balance. You begin to see that gardening isn't just a task, it's a relationship. It's learning to listen, to wait, to have faith that what you've planted will rise again. So when you tuck your garlic into the ground, when you scatter your fava beans or kale, remember this: you're not just planting food, you're planting trust. Every seed is a promise, every bulb a story waiting to unfold. And when the snow melts and those first green shoots appear, you'll realize that nature never stopped working, even when you did. Up next, we'll bring it all together, because these plants don't just grow food, they teach us something deeper about patience, resilience, and the quiet joy of growing with the seasons. Growing patience, trust, and joy with the seasons. And there you have it, 7 humble vegetables that ask for so little yet give so much in return. Garlic, walking onions, miner's lettuce, multiplier onions, fava beans, kale, and leeks. Each one a quiet teacher in its own way. Together they remind us that gardening isn't about control or perfection. It's about trust. Trust in the soil, in the seasons, and in yourself. When you plant in fall and walk away, you're saying to nature, "I believe in you." And when spring comes and the first green shoots appear, the earth answers back, "You were, right too." These plants aren't just food, they're lessons in patience and presence. They show us that life continues even beneath frost, that rest can be productive, and that growth doesn't always need to be seen to be real. So as you stand at the edge of your garden this fall with your hands dirty and your heart calm, know that what you're really growing is peace, one seed at a time. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these resilient vegetables will you be planting this fall? Have you tried any of them before, or are you inspired to start now? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your stories are what keep our Golden Garden community growing strong. And if you enjoyed this journey into the magic of fall planting, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you won't miss the next episode. Together, we'll keep learning, growing, and celebrating the beauty of simple, soulful gardening, where every season has something to teach.